It's not in the cards for me.
But no, there is like a fine balance though. I remember
Mm-hmm.
one of my friends' mom. She always used to say to us, she'd be smoking a cigarette. She'd be like, "Jeff, always make sure that the person you're going out with, that they like you more than you like them."
Oh boy, that's like
She was divorced, by the way.
yeah, that sounds like some game
And
stuff
she was
there.
smoking a cigarette
All
too.
right, sure.
Yeah.
Divorce cigarette.
I took that to heart though. And then one time, I went. Jeff and I were really good friends, and we lived in a really, which is like the boonies. And during this time, we were basically, we're like, oh, we're in high school now. We're not legal yet, but we got some booze. We got some brewskis. Let's go out to the boonies. We went to out into the forest. You had to like park your car off. It was like going down to the trails. It's like trying to get as far away as you can from all the zombies, like in Walking Dead. You're going
Right.
that far.
Okay.
And then the director's like, keep going. We see the train tracks. Turn right. Go up the train tracks. You're gonna see this like abandoned, train.
Mhm.
Go through the other side. Keep going to the forest. You'll find us, and you just see this huge bonfire. And now all these people were drinking and stuff, and they found this one park there. The next day, that night I slept over his house, and his mom woke us up. She's like, Jeff, how about we go for a little drive?
Uh-oh.
And then she got her boyfriend, she was saying at the time, he drove all of us. She drove us to that place. There was like all these bottles everywhere. It's just, look at this. Were you at this party? And he was like so mad. He was just like, what the fuck, mom?
It's just a party, bro.
Yeah. But I took that as an indication of how much she loved us.
I didn't
She cared for me too.
I didn't do any drinking in high school. Like, I didn't drink until
Oh, really?
yeah, I didn't drink until like probably no. I think I drank a little bit. I drank like one time in high school, and we got so drunk that I never wanted to drink Captain Morgan's again. I still don't.
Really?
Yeah. And it was funny because we were drinking like Coke and we had two bottles. We had Captain Morgan's and Jack Daniels, and like we were so.
Oh, so you were like a hard liquor guy from the beginning.
No, we were so fresh that like
No, but like usually you ease off from you start slow with like beer.
Yeah.
Because beer, it's like
Right.
you can't get drunk that fast because it's like
Right.
it gets you bloated. You got to burp a lot.
Well, this was like a
Coke.
this was like a compaction thing. We had to get as much because we had somebody's brother was buying it for us, and it was just me and two other guys, my two like best friends in high school. We were out in the country,
Yeah.
and it was just us. And so he was like, "Oh, I'm only gonna buy. I'm not gonna like lug a bunch of beer home for you, to get drunk." So they were like, "Just buy us this and this." We didn't know what we wanted, but so it's just like we knew Jack Daniels, we knew Captain Morgan's were like two different, were two things that you can drink with Coke, and and the Jack Daniels tasted so heinous to us that we like really hit the Captain Morgan's really hard. And then you know how it is. It's like we were. Oh, this is so fantastic! We're having so much fun. Let's play music. Let's do all this other shit. And
What kind of music were you listening to every time?
no idea.
Come on, be honest. Don't be like that.
No.
You know exactly, and you listen to that song. You knew every lyrics, and you don't want to admit it to other people
You know what
because
we
no one would
do?
understand because you were only listening to that band at that time.
You know what? I was probably listening to. We were probably listening to a lot of Daft Punk.
Daft Punk is great, yeah.
No. I'm not
Homework?
ashamed of Daft Punk. I love that stuff.
Daft Punk.
But we were the only ones in our high school like that were listening, to that sort of thing, and so we thought we were so cool. We made this whole movie with like these cardboard robot costumes, and it was like all Daft Punk, and we had dancing robots.
Really?
And yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But did you wear these outside? Or
Yeah,
it was
all outside. It was
Okay.
like I did it in my front yard,
So where were you growing up, by the way?
Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas. So during the areas,
Mhm.
they were growing up, was it mostly boonies? Was it an actual town where you were growing up?
Yeah.
city
Oh no.
based?
No. We were right in the middle of Dallas, and Dallas is a pretty big town. It's like 2
Yeah.
million people.
I heard a lot of people are really nice there too in Dallas.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, it's probably the least Texas-y of places in Texas, I think.
But what does that mean? But what is the ideal stereotypical Texas-y, and how is that not Texas-y? Because you said you're right in the middle as well.
Oh, well, we're kind of North Texas, yeah. We're like, Dallas is like, there's a lot of different people from a lot of different places in Dallas. That's why a lot of people notice that I don't have a really strong Texas accent unless you get me, like, unless I'm really relaxed or something like that, or I'm kind
Really-
of playing it up.
Really drunk.
Yeah, maybe.
So you can switch it on and off like that.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, I don't know. But that's just because I'm not from like the country. I'm from a big city, and I was, all my teachers were like from other parts of the country, that kind of thing.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't know.
How about your parents? Do they have strong accents?
Both my parents are from the country, so they have like my mom has a real strong accent. She kind
But
of sounds like
it's got that nice swagger.
yeah, like mom kind of talks like this, and has this kind of almost like Eastern Southern accent kind of thing, and then my dad is kind of much like harder kind of. More of a like harder R is kind of talking like that a little bit.
Is it like they're always talking in a sermon? That's like whenever I hear like a really nice Texan accent, I always feel like how can I say it? So that's like that's us. Texan accent. I always.
Are we going live?
No, that was a sound. It was actually working pretty good.
Oh, okay.
I'm just testing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so actually we've been live on already.
Ah!
So yeah. So anyways, What's up everybody?
Hello.
I am Wilfred Lee. This is my friend and guest today, Sean Calhoun.
Hi guys.
Welcome to the Artist Journey, and today we're going to just shoot the dirt.
Okay.
We're going to shoot the dirt.
Shoot the dirt with our guns.
I've been told I swear a lot these days.
Okay.
I can't help myself. That's just what I am. It's what I do. But I am willing to change. I'm going to treat all you people out there like you're my other girlfriend, and you really want me to change. So I'm going to do what I can do for you. And every time I swear, you can just let me know, and I'm going to put $1 in the dollar jar. And hopefully with this money that we get, we can buy something nice together. Like...
So no swearing?
Let's try to make this PG-13.
I can do
so there's
no swearing. I'm a teacher,
But PG-13. Remember when you were young? Like PG-13 was like you can only say shit or bitch.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's kind of more lenient.
Yeah.
Like the rating system is actually kind of.
Well, I think one of the ways that you can actually get to a PG-13, which is the desirable rating to get the teenagers in, is you can say the F word one time, not in reference to the actual effing, right? And so you can see that in movies like, I remember watching Armageddon, which is not a good movie, but there's this one point where Billy Bob Thornton, for no reason, goes, "This is a big asteroid and you effing know it." And he just says it right to the screen, and that was like the thing that got them over into the PG-13 territory that they want to be like edgy enough for teenagers to come and see it and still be allowed to.
Yeah. By the way, I actually disagree with you that Armageddon is probably one of the best movies ever.
Okay, why?
Because it's a disguise. Because it has everything. Each character portrays a specific genre.
Okay.
So you have like John Cusack. You have Bruce Willis as the action guy.
Yeah.
You have Ben Affleck as the romance. You have Steve Buscemi as that kind of creepy
Steve Buscemi guy.
Thriller, and then you have the comedy, which is who is the comedy for that movie?
I don't know.
Nicolas Cage.
He is not in that.
Oh, I'm mistaken. I'm thinking of Con Air. Con Air is the best movie ever.
Okay,
Armageddon
Con Air is
was
the best movie.
Armageddon was a piece of crap.
Okay, Con Air is trash. No. Armageddon is trash. Con Air is great. Okay.
Let's keep that clear. Con Air was amazing. Armageddon, that was terrible. You guys have to do a better job than that.
I've seen both of those movies once, so...
I remember watching Armageddon in the movie theater.
Oh, yeah?
And it was, like, packed. It
Yeah.
was like a big deal.
No, it was a big deal. And that Aerosmith song,
Don't want to close my eyes.
Don't want to fall asleep. That's my karaoke. Yeah.
Don't stop.
Don't stop believing.
It's just a song. I'm making requests. Do what I gotta do. Yeah, so Sean, as people may know or may not know, you actually are hosting a comedy night event.
Yeah.
Could you tell a little bit?
Sure. I do Gangnam comedy. What do I call it?
Gangnam or Gangnam?
Is there a difference?
Is it like Busan or Busan?
I say Gangnam, like Gangnam Style. Isn't that what he says? He doesn't say Gangnam Style. Right? So I assume that is the correct pronunciation because that's a Korean guy saying it, right?
Yes.
I don't know. So yeah, it's Gangnam Comedy open mic every second and fourth Monday of every month, and we just get up there and do some stand-up comedy.
It's like yes, and it's like the comedian menstrual cycle. Like that only happens every second Thursday, and then we've become so familiar with each other that it's actually been cycling together as like a symbiotic thing.
Oh yeah, no, it is.
So
kinda,
we're cycling together.
It is kind of in there. Yeah, I mean, there's the
sometimes some people are like, oh, I'm gonna be late.
Mm-hmm.
Can't make it. Oh, I'm early. I went already on Wednesday at Tony's.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, gotta do what I gotta do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I started doing it. I just came home one day and I was like, oh, I like stand-up. I was doing it at Tony's or something like that. Or Tony's or Itaewon, you know, there's like 2 open mics.
Right.
And I came home and I was like, I want to do this more, but there's not time, you know, or there's not a good time to do it. So I was like, well, maybe I should do one. And what's a good time for me? At that time, it was, you know, Mondays. Like, and then somebody said, you should do it. Don't do it every week because then it won't be like a special thing. Do it.
Yeah, that's true. Actually,
every other week.
Yeah, if it's like every other week, it actually has more significance.
Yeah, and you know, it's fun. People come, we do it. Sometimes it's really good. Sometimes it's okay. You know, depending. It's just.
Yeah, but that's always the case with any place.
Yeah.
I think obviously one of the problems that we can't avoid is just, you know, we all know each other.
Right.
And we're usually our own audience.
Yes.
Despite location. And the thing is, like, if people go to one location and then they want to go see you again at another location, they've kind of heard everything too.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, which is kind of really surprising is that for us living in Korea, like, most of us we're always constantly making new material every month.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy.
Is it? I mean,
I think it is because
you
usually
definitely
a lot
need
of
to make new material every month for these.
You do definitely, but there's also a lot of refinement needed as well.
Yes.
Because usually when you do a lot of jokes, okay, that one's over, and then I'm gonna bring that back, but you've only done it maybe once a week.
Yeah, exactly.
And you gotta keep doing it again. But you know, when you do like something like Stand Up Soul, which happened recently, by the way, which was pretty interesting actually.
Yeah, I like Stand Up Soul this week. I mean, these last couple of months I think has been really good.
Last month was really good.
Yeah,
we had a really good crowd.
Yeah,
I felt this recent one, people felt a little bit they were like holding back, restricting themselves a bit.
I think so.
Yeah, like I mean, people were laughing for sure, but everyone's stuff this time was pretty dark. It was pretty not PG-13. It was a bit R-rated. Yeah. Sometimes NC-17. Sometimes like. Wait, what side is this? Like, where did you put me, man?
Right, it was a little rough, and a little bit racist at times, and
and like full blown, admittedly racist.
Yes. Boy, oh boy, that's one place I cannot go is the racism thing. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I think what I like about yours is that you sometimes you do have like these. Particular jokes that you do, but even if the content is a little bit dirty, you always kind of do it in a PG way. Not even PG-13, but it's still funny because it's like withholding that kind of.
Right. I don't know. It's like that. Okay, so I think part of that for me is like I've been in a long-term relationship, you know, for a long time. So, you know, like 10 years now, I've been with the same girl, and if I start talking about, you know, sexual stuff, everyone's gonna go, well, we know what that's about. That's like 2 people. That's him and her, and that's where all of this is coming from. And so, you know,
so that's where you draw the line.
I just, it starts getting icky. I don't know. For me, I mean, you guys, you know, big swinging D words, walking around, you know, running around here with like. You know,
yeah, but I usually do that to compensate for my small penis.
Oh, okay.
So I just want to get that out of the way. I have a small penis. Continue.
Okay, all right.
So then I feel much more comfortable with myself.
Sure.
No competition.
Yeah. Well,
in Korea,
you know, you guys are out there mixing it up. It's swinging, like I said, you know, swinging single dudes, and like that's kind of, I think that's where you guys are coming from. I'm coming from a much more like. I don't know.
Do you think it's from your background, like your Texan background as well?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Like, were your friends at the time very rowdy or very like, you know, In
No,
terms of
I
like
was
the
like-
vocabulary, was it very?
Oh no, well, let's
You know
see.
what I mean? Like the stuff that you guys talk about was a kind of, you know.
Oh, it could get a little racy at times, sure. Yeah, I mean.
But when you say this, like my own interpretation of racy is like I'm trying to see like how racy is that really?
Like I mean, I don't. If somebody says something on stage that's very, sexual, I don't go like, oh my stars, whew, I'm not getting the
Only with
vapors or
Nevada,
anything.
I do get kind of uncomfortable. But I
well,
love that.
That's just because
he's like intimidatingly,
Yeah.
flirtatious.
Nevada,
and
I
so
guess,
funny.
is
great.
a very openly gay performer.
Yeah,
who,
he did great, by the way.
who is
He did a good job with that.
always very funny. He's coming on Monday to Gangnam Comedy Open Mic.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But he like goes up there. I don't even know if he's like written anything material down. It's just kind of like, hey, basically hitting on every guy in the room.
Yeah,
And but
that works enough.
yeah, sure. But I guess, I mean, like, I guess for me, I feel like I don't really want to explore too much sexual stuff. there's like other stuff I'm kind of more interested in.
Such as what these days?
Oh gosh.
Where do we start?
Well, I'm living in this country. That's where I feel like I get most of my material. It's just like, like, I guess if I was in America, I'd talk about American, I'd talk about what's going on, like just what I see in my daily life in America. But here in Korea, and there's so much more baffling things going on.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting to do stand-up in Korea as a
Mm-hmm.
foreigner because, first of all, stand-up is kind of non-existent in the Korean community.
Yeah.
So usually when you get those poor Korean couples that go to Tony's or something,
Yeah.
they have no idea what's happening. All these foreigners are like taking the mic. First person Alex.
Right.
And they're like, oh boy, what's happening right now?
yeah.
And then we're just kind of talking. Sometimes they don't understand. Sometimes when they do, they're just like, what's going on right now?
Right.
Because I mean, when you see like gay concert or something,
Yeah.
it's like very forced. It's like a sketch. It's very caricaturized, very flamboyant in its
Yes.
presentation.
Yeah.
And then usually when we do it, it's kind of very low key compared to that type of energy most of the time.
Well, there's a Korean guy that comes out to a lot of comedy stuff. His name's, Warren Sung.
Yeah.
Yeah, he comes out all the time. He speaks pretty good English.
Yeah.
But when I talk to him about it, he's like, oh, I come, I watch, but I don't really understand what's happening. So he's like an anthropologist almost, like coming observing this behavior.
This is true.
And I'm like,
Or is it like he refuses to acknowledge the content that we're saying?
maybe.
It's like I really cannot comprehend forcing a baby inside of someone's penis hole. It's like that's virtually impossible. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, I asked him, well, do Koreans do stand up in Korean? And he was like, no. He's like, we do more like clown things. We think of clown. This is our comedy. And
So we're clowns to them.
no, I think that's what they are into is like clowns and more visual kind of humor, and they don't do as much stuff. He was like, you can't. I asked him if like why don't they do comedy and like why don't they do stand up style comedy in Korea? And he's like, it's very hard with different society. He's like, you cannot be disrespectful as much as American people are.
Yeah.
Like on stage. And he also said,
And we're so disrespectful, most of us.
I guess so, yeah. And he also said, I remember one time he said, he was like, I was like, why, maybe you should do it maybe you should try stand up. Like I told him, if you get up there and just say to like all of these Waygooks, just all of exactly what you think about them.
That would be funny.
They would think it was hilarious. Like just get up there and like just every thought that you have about like what's going on and how terrible all this is, or how, whatever, like you could just say anything and people would just love it. They'd eat it up.
And then a star is born.
Yeah, and he said, if I did this, I would have to eliminate. And he was like, I don't know how to say
My
the
Facebook
word.
account.
No, he said, I don't know how to say this word, and he wrote it down, and the word was ego. And I was like, yeah, you can't really eliminate that in stand-up comedy. That's kind of what it's all about, right?
He would have to eliminate his ego.
Yeah, he would have to eliminate all ego from what he was saying.
But for what reason?
just I don't know. That's
To like get rid of shame or pride or
something. Yeah, I didn't really understand it, but that's what he said. It was very interesting.
Oh, so he needs like ecstasy or something. Just give
Yeah.
him some ecstasy.
Like let's just be part of the group.
Some bath salts at Home
Bath
Plus.
salts, sure. Right.
We should go on a bath salts run at Home Plus and E-Mart.
Oh boy.
And then we'll do reviews. That'd be best.
Okay, are we going to eat them, or are we just going to take some nice long baths? Because I would totally go for that.
What I would do is first I would buy a bathtub because there's no bathtubs here really.
Yeah, right.
I would fill it up with bath salts, and then put a lighter to it, like it's a sambuca shot.
Ooh.
I just and I go inside and I just start swimming in it until I see everything, all these little spiders crawling all over my face. Isn't that how you're supposed to take a bath?
Yeah, right. No, that's. I remember I took my first bath in like a year.
That's like catnip for humans.
Bath salts.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
But has that even actually been proven to be hallucinogenic? Because the guy who ate the other person's face.
Yeah, he was just smoking pot or something.
Yeah.
I think he was just.
And you
crazy.
can't blame that on pot. Don't be ridiculous, people. Don't be ridiculous.
I think he was just a very crazy individual who decided.
And the pot actually calmed him down.
Yeah, maybe
until it wore off, and he's actually.
Or it got him into a place where he was comfortable enough with himself. To finally do what he always wanted to do, which is eat a homeless person's face.
Yeah, and during that time, before and after, he had this whole inner monologue narration, like in the Wonder Years. Mm-hmm. It's like, there I was, nibbling away.
So there I was,
Kibbles
thinking about Winnie while I'm eating this guy's face, and just wondering.
Thinking about Winnie while I poo. Because I love honey.
All right.
Yikes.
Good riff.
It's a good riff.
I remember watching. I finally took a bath like in a hotel for the first time in like a year since I was here because I love baths. I'd like read a book, do all that stuff. I took a long bath and then I pulled the plunger out, whatever you call the thing, the stopper, and I didn't realize that the tub was just going to it didn't have its own drain. It was just going to drain onto the floor. And out into the floor drain.
Oh, really?
Of the bathroom. Yeah.
Oh, because it always drains down to.
Yeah, you just pull it out.
Because the bathroom itself is a drainer.
And I just sat there watching that, and that was so. I don't know. Watching that drain, the whole bathtub of water just drain onto the floor, basically just flood the whole bathroom, and then slowly drain through the floor drain. That was just like. Something. There's only somebody's only getting one half of what should be happening here. With this bathroom and with everything that's going on in this bathroom.
No, what do you mean? One half of what? Of the experience?
One half of the experience is like you can like take your bath and then the water is just supposed to go away. You're not supposed to have to deal with it again.
Okay, so like not recycled.
I don't know. It's just like.
You mean like the maid has to clean that up?
Somebody. I don't know. Just somebody.
It's her fault.
Somebody is f-wording up here because I have to pull this drain out and it's going to fall. It's going to, like, it's just make a hose go do something. Like this is just piss poor design. I don't know.
Yeah.
It really bugged me.
But yeah, there's something about the Korean washrooms. It's that whole mechanism of. Mm-hmm. You can do all the 3 S's. The shower, shit, and shave. Yeah, all at one time at the same time. That's true. Yeah. Like you're taking a shit, you're brushing your teeth, and you're peeing out at the same time. You don't even pee into the toilet anymore.
That's true. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes when I'm in.
If you have an erection, it doesn't even go this way. You're just peeing all over your chest, but it's okay because you're taking a shower, so you shower.
And you can You can always pull the thing.
Yeah, and you run out of toilet paper. Don't worry.
Wash it down. Yeah, you got your douche right there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's like a bidet as well.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
I don't know if the cord reaches all the way to my bath.
Korea's awesome.
I mean, it's just a different. It's a totally different.
I think they try to one up the Japanese people because every bathroom washroom there they have a bidet.
Right.
Right, and it's like warm seat. Look, we'll just make our entire washroom a bidet. We'll put this faucet sink right on the bottom of this. Of the shower head, and you do what you please.
I was afraid to use one of those for the longest time because I thought, like, how could it know?
It looks really complicated too.
How could it know where to go, right? And then I didn't, but then I finally got up the courage to try it one time, and boy, it knew exactly where to go, like right on. Like I almost felt like there was a camera underneath, my backside, like aiming for the bullseye because it hit it immediately. There was no adjusting, just right on the spot. immediately, and it was perfect. It was great.
Perfect segue. Have you ever heard of the Popinator?
No.
It's there's this one company in
Does
America.
it have to do with Mary Poppins?
Yes and no, and I'll
Okay.
explain why it does
Okay.
and why it doesn't. The Popinator was made by an American popcorn manufacturer
Okay.
company. And what they did was they used the latest in technology to create this machine that has popcorn filled inside it, and it has a motion sensor that is voice activated. So if you're sitting where we're sitting now, and for example, where that camera is, this is the Popinator. All you have to say is pop, and then based on the sound frequency, it knows what what angle you are, the type of force and amount it should go. So all you have to do is just like go like this, and it goes right into your mouth.
Holy.
And they have this whole video, and I was like, this is really impressive. It's not like they were just like this.
Yeah.
They were actually just like, sometimes they have to go like this, but it was like most of the time really, really accurate.
That's really nice because I've always been terrible at throwing things into my own mouth.
Yeah.
And
they're just dedicated just to enjoy, like, create the sensational joyous experience of,
yeah, that's great. I love that.
throwing popcorn into your mouth.
And you just don't have to,
How lazy are we?
Yeah. It's always impressive when somebody can throw pieces of popcorn in their mouth, and so that kind of takes away the impressive part of it, though.
Yeah, it's always those little things that are really impressive.
Yeah.
It's like when people can whistle really well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can just do kind of so-so.
Let's hear it.
That's about it.
Oh, really?
I can do one of these ones.
Yeah.
Check your headphones. Like that.
It's pretty good. I can't do
But
that.
it doesn't go like...
I can't do it with the tongue, with the fingers.
I actually learned on the internet. That's how I learned.
Oh, you know what I learned?
There's a lot of things I learned on the internet.
Yeah.
That my dad never taught me.
I
like
learned-
a tie. How to tie a tie.
Oh, that was easy for me. I had to tie a tie since I was like really young.
Ever since I had suicidal tendencies.
Well, I went to private school, so I always had to tie that thing.
Okay.
Every day. No, I learned how to do
Hashtag
it.
humble brag.
Is that a brag? I always feel really ashamed that I went to private school. Like.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Yeah, that's what a humble brag is. It's like.
Oh, okay.
You're kind of ashamed. It's like, I don't want to wear these brand new $200 Nike shoes to the supermarket. It's like, what should I do?
Is a humble brag always about money?
It's about like having some type of,
I feel like a humble brag would be like, I would feel like a humble brag would be about skills. It'd be like, oh man, it's putting.
It's like, oh man, I'm so tired. I just had like amazing sex. God, why am I so tired? You know?
Okay, yeah. All right.
Maybe in that
I got
kind of
that.
situation.
All right.
That'd be a good set to do, just all humble bragging.
Yeah, right. I think maybe that's
until you
taken
turn
care
into
of,
an a-hole.
Yeah. I think that might be taken care of.
And the audience is your bidet. Today.
I don't know, man.
I don't know about that one either. That didn't feel right with me.
Maybe.
That felt kind of weird.
Oh. Well, what else should we talk about?
That's a good point. Does anyone have any questions out there? Do you have any questions that you would like to share with us? Let me find out. Well, actually, let's talk about how you got into comedy.
Okay, sure.
Were you doing comedy before you came to Korea?
I did comedy one time before I came to Korea at a very sad open mic in Dallas, down a very dark and scary road. And the only people that were there, like in typical stand-up or open mic fashion, the only other people were there were the performing comedians, and I was very nervous, very scared, so I got way too drunk beforehand, and then I jumped up and just spouted stuttery gibberish for about 3 minutes and then got down. And, I had 2 or 3 of my best friends there. One of them said, I was laughing so hard at you the whole time.
Yeah.
And the other one said, that's because that was really terrible. Like, really bad. Like, maybe don't try that again. But
that is the best rule. That's like the number one rule when you're first starting out is always go out with your friends.
Right. I don't know, is that?
Yeah, because it's like, it's always good motivation, and because they know you really well, and in that perfect example of one person is laughing and the other person, well, that's because it was really bad.
Yeah.
Whether it was or wasn't,
Right.
that whole moment of something like that happening is kind of hilarious for a first time experience.
Yeah.
And it actually creates a nice memory. And just that kind of motivation to try one more time.
Yeah, it was
sober.
nice that there was like one or two people laughing. Yeah, for sure.
It's nice to get any type of reaction.
Yeah, any reaction's good.
Even if they're like, "Ooh, I don't mind that."
Yeah,
I used to hate that.
Jeff Sinclair said something interesting to me like a couple months ago. He was like, I said, sometimes I feel like everybody's just way too quiet in the room. And he's like, oh, no, silence is good because that means they're listening. And you can see that sometimes when a performer will get up and people just start ignoring them like right away. That's a really scary thing. It's like, okay, don't laugh, but at least listen.
Do you still get any last minute jitters when you go on stage?
I get nervous beforehand. Yeah, on stage, like I don't feel as nervous anymore. What about you? How do you feel when you go on stage?
I like feeling nervous. I like to use that kind of energy to use that towards my act. Actually, I kind of get nervous when I feel confident. Because I don't want to feel too confident, because I kind of feel like I would start giving off the wrong vibe. I can't be too chesopso in Korean, which is kind of like pretentious or like over flamboyant. Like there's some people sometimes when I watch, they kind of have this kind of cadence to them that it's I don't know if it's kind of like bragging or something like that, but it's kind of like feeling a little bit above. Like if you're too confident, depending on your material, sometimes it's just the symbiosis, like the chemistry doesn't really work out. And so basically, at least for what I usually do, I like to feel nervous because I love the tension with the audience. Yeah, it's like if they can feel you're being nervous, like I know what I'm going to say, right? But if they can kind of feel that tension of that awkwardness, I love that. Well, I remember when I was really young, I used to hate awkward silences. Like I was just like really fidgety, didn't know what to do. And there was this one point in my life where I'm just like awkward silence was like a jacuzzi, and I just go in there and I'm just like, like I'm just sitting there, like I don't have to worry about anything. I just like just let it soak it in there, and I'd be really comfortable whether the other person was or wasn't. And I think it kind of helps to get in that kind of atmosphere, because every comedian brings their own kind of tone and their own kind of energy into the room.
A lot of times you do that really quiet thing, and it's like very calm.
But you know what I learned from that was I had a girlfriend of mine, Sorhan. We separated. She used to perform and at bars and clubs. And I was like, God, that must be really hard because it's always loud. She goes, yeah, the worst thing you can do when you're performing is make the music louder than people talking. You just put it just a little bit lower than the volume of the audience. Just a little bit low, so they actually start to listen to you.
Okay, right.
If you kind of go up too loud, for example, if it's like feeding off the energy out of people. If you're like saying, "Hey, what's up?" and I'm like, "Hey," it's just like, okay, I guess we'll start here.
Right.
But if you're really open and people can feel that's really genuine too, and it goes with the type of stuff you're talking about, people really like that. Yeah. There's some people that just when I see them, just like, oh, I love watching them. They're totally engaging.
Yeah, I feel like you just have to be really, you have to actually be talking to someone on stage, not just like reading through something in your head. Like when I first start, I've gone through different, I haven't been doing stand-up for very long, but over the course of doing it, I've tried like different methods of remembering or getting through material. I guess what I should try is like practice it more, but I never quite. That always feels weird too. Remember, I wrote everything down beat by beat by beat, and like had that as a cheat sheet for a while.
Yeah.
Oops.
It's okay.
And that just ended up sounding so stilted. I think that that was really not the way to go. So now I just kind of try to make it through. Like, even though I have the worst memory in the world, just try to make it through my points in my own head. And it's like if you actually think about the point you're trying to make, then it makes more sense. But
No, I totally agree with that. That's a good point because essentially, it's not doing stand up is not really a monologue. It's actually a dialogue.
yeah, exactly.
Right, and I think that's where we kind of get confused sometimes.
Mhm.
Is like, I have a bad habit of doing that too. Sometimes I feel like I do that most of the
It's
time.
like rote memorization.
Yeah, because
it's tough because people are gonna be like, there's somebody who's like, yeah, or because they want to like.
if you can
people,
go,
yeah.
if you can roll with the punches too, if
Yeah.
someone just kind of yells out something, then
Right. I remember a couple of times when I've been at a stand-up show and it's going really good. You do feel like you're in the midst of a conversation, and so like if you've had a few too many, which happens a lot, it's people just start talking to you, not heckling.
people always start listening to me whenever I drink.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. They just start talking to you, and not heckling. They're just like, yeah, I think so too, or blah, yeah, or they have a point to make all of a sudden, and it's like not a heckle, but then it's kind of like, okay, hold on a second, we're not actually going to have a conversation in front of these people.
Absolutely, and I think that's like what we were talking about before. That's why I think it's sometimes a good idea to have a friend come over too, because at least you are kind of performing, doing something to someone specifically.
Right.
You have a kind of essential focus to go, because usually when you're
Like a
talking
friendly
to
face in the audience.
yeah, when you're talking to like a big group of people, you kind of
Look around.
you're kind of looking around. You're not necessarily focusing on one person, but
Right.
you're just kind of like feeling the energy of the room. It's a very strange thing. It's a really, really strange kind of thing to do.
Yeah.
Comedy.
It's fun though.
It is really fun. Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I've always listened. I've always been a big fan of comedy myself, but then before I started doing it, I always kind of secretly wanted to do it, right? But then I always assumed that everybody who liked comedy secretly wanted to do it. And it's funny to find out that, there are people who come to a show and don't actually want to get up on stage and do it too. I always assumed that everybody wanted to do it.
Well, some people want to just. Some people are kind of really ridiculously stupid, and what I mean when I say that is that they kind of judge you, when you're up there really harsh, because they always can say to themselves, I can probably do better. And even though you're only up there for 5 minutes, so sometimes they're going to be the one who's going to start heckling you, start talking out there.
Yeah.
And you're like, bro or lady, what are you doing? I only have 5 minutes, and you have to take this time
Right.
to interrupt me, because they feel like they are contributing to something.
Yeah.
I talk to some people like, yeah, comedians love heckling. I'm like, not really. That's like the worst thing that could happen. That's like if you're a photographer, do you like people coming up to your photo and like going like this in front of a model shoot?
Exactly.
Or do you like you're drawing and someone takes the pencil and draws in front of you? Like, you shouldn't be doing that. It's totally interrupting what you're actually doing.
Exactly. I've got a train of thought. I have something to say. I have a certain amount of time to say it, and you're ruining that. I remember at Tony's. You may remember this. One night at Tony's, there was a guy. There was like a guy, sounded like an American guy, and his two Australian friends, and they were just like being really loud and heckling everybody.
I remember.
Do you remember that? And so fair enough. There's three guys heckling. Okay, but then the weird thing is that one of the Australian guys was like, "Oi, ask him what he does. What's his degree?" And then we were like, "Okay, what's your degree?" And he was like, "My degree's in comedy." But he was like the guy heckling, and he's like, number one, I didn't know you could study comedy as a thing, and number two, like, wouldn't that be one of the things on the first day? It's like heckling is not appreciated.
Doesn't that mean he's just a joke?
Maybe,
He's
yeah.
a joke.
Right. Well, he seemed like a bit of a joke.
Comedy. I'm a joke.
I'm a degree in comedy. I'm a big joke. Yeah, I mean,
he's a big asshole.
obviously he went right out and started using it. He came to Korea, become presumably a teacher, and then
give up his dream.
Something. Yeah, it was weird. It was a weird thing, and it wasn't. They weren't particularly good hecklers. They were particularly persistent. But that struck me. Like, I took that home. It's like, why, if you have a degree in comedy, do you come to like a small open mic? You should know what an open mic's about. If you have studied this.
Yeah.
And open mic is where you come to kind of work your stuff out. You know, you don't necessarily have to be completely practiced in it. You know, this might be the first time you're doing the material, and it might be crap, it might be okay, but you build on it from there. You know,
I think sometimes just doing stuff like that at Tony's brings that kind of resonance because it's very small, it's very intimate and stuff. You know, usually there's some people, they're there before they would just start saying whatever they want.
Sure.
You know, whether or not they felt like they were actually contributing to it, or just for the sake of it,
or just like, because like, oh, I came because I mean, if you actually found out, you know, if you were there and didn't know that there was comedy happening, which happens all the time because it's not like it's a heavily promoted show. Usually there's like 2 or 3 Koreans in there, and Alec gets up there and it's like, oh, we're about to do comedy, you know, sorry, fair warning, you know, and then like that's
pay your bills.
chance. Yeah, it's your chance to pay the bill and get the fuck out, or just get the F word
out.
Yeah.
Dollar to the dollar jar.
Oh, sorry.
Can keep going.
Okay. Well, anyways, but then there's also people who come and say, "Oh, I knew that comedy was happening tonight. My idea of a good time is to come and heckle," and that's fair enough too. You know, it's like
that's my sole purpose, to come.
Yeah.
And watch.
You know,
I'm gonna go heckle tonight
because they probably know what they're getting. You know, if you've been to an open mic before, you know there's going to be some pretty weak sauce on display, and sure, you can
weak sauce.
Yeah, you can jump right in, and
you can be the horseradish.
Yeah, exactly. You can.
You know what I want to do next time? That's a great idea. Is I'm just gonna invite all the hecklers and have Your Mama standoff. Yeah. I'm gonna prepare a list of like the best Your Mama's jokes that I can think of, and just like, okay, whoever wants to do Your Mama, tell me one. I'll tell you one back. See how that goes.
God.
Do you remember any of the first jokes you ever learned when you were young?
The first jokes I ever learned. Yes, I do. I remember this joke. I think I might be able to remember it. There was a joke in kindergarten that was going around, and it was like the first joke that I had ever heard that was like a dialogue joke, or
like a story.
It was like a story, and not like knock knock, who's there, or you know, why do you do blah blah blah, because blah 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 blah. You know, it wasn't the question and answer, call and response thing. It was like a story. And it was being passed around in kindergarten. We all thought it was hilarious. And it didn't make any damn sense, but it was, you know, we thought it was so funny. I thought it was hilarious. I told it to after I had heard it. I told it to everyone, and then some adult asked me if I knew a joke, and I told it, and of course, because it sounded like the ramblings of a crazy person, that they just looked at me like, what? I don't understand.
Yeah, when a kid's trying to say a joke, they're like, something's wrong with Sean.
Yeah, right. Well, I think it was the story of a day it was like a day in the life of this boy, and the boy goes to school, and somebody asks him it's like the teacher asked him, what do you do at home, and he says something. I can't remember. All I remember is that one of the questions that he got asked was the answer was fork and knife, and that was like the big punchline. But it wasn't. But that was like in the middle of the joke. I don't know. It's. I'm having a hard time describing that, but it's like I only have this image of the story in my head, and I can't. It's hard to describe. He's like walking home from school, and everyone that he meets asks him a question, and he has a non sequitur response for everyone, and it. I don't know. That's not funny as I describe it, and it wasn't funny. It's not a funny story. I don't know, but that was the first joke. It was this boy coming home from school, and like everyone asks him, you know, like, what did you do today? And he says, you know, ate dirt. And then the next person asks him, like, how did you eat it? Fork and knife. The next person asks him, blah blah blah. But it was like. It was this weird story that had been built by all of these kindergartners, like passed around telephone style, where it may have originally had some kind of punchline in some sense, but it just gets passed around, and so it's like the idea of telling a joke is more funny to the kid than actually having the joke, or than the joke actually being funny. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. Sorry.
I just want to take this time to bask in the awkward. Piss of it all.
The awkward
That's what we
silence.
need, you know.
Mhm.
When something like that happens, just let it ride.
What was the first joke you remember?
Nice.
Sure.
That was nice.
Flip the script.
Flip the script. I remember my Portuguese friend told me a Portuguese joke.
Okay.
One day it was a Portuguese kid. He was in school for the first time. This could have been a story about him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just realizing this right now. And he really had to go pee. And he kept telling to the teacher, please, the teacher, I need to go pee.
Mm-hmm.
Teacher's like, no, not yet. And he's like, goes back to his seat. He's like, I really gotta go. If I'm not gonna go, I'm gonna just pee all over the place. And then he goes back to the teacher. Goes, teacher, please, I really need to go pee, please. And she goes, no, get back to your seat. We have to do class. And then the teacher was asking all the kids to spell words. And she says to the boy, how do you spell apple? And then he says, A-P-P-L-E. She says, yes, right. And then he pissed in the corner.
Okay.
Because A-P-P-L-E in Portuguese means pee in the corner.
All right.
A-P-P-L-E.
Okay.
And I was like, that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
I learned Portuguese.
Yeah.
And it was a pee joke.
Okay, right. I feel like, okay. Yeah, sure.
I think it was like in grade 3 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one, I remember this one girl, Darlene Zamet. She had this one joke about this man, this bartender, you know, just tending the bar, and there was one girl, there's one man, he's sitting at the bar stool, and then he's just snapping his fingers like this, and the bartender's like, what are you doing? He goes, I'm snapping my fingers to the beat of the song. Blah, blah. He looked at the jukebox going, I go, okay, that's nice. Next person, what are you doing? Snapping my fingers to the beat of the song. Yeah, okay. And then next person's like, what are you doing? Let me guess, snapping your fingers to the beat of the song? No, I got this booger on my finger and I've been trying to get it off all this time. I thought that was a pretty good one.
Yeah, sure.
It's kind of interesting how what makes kids laugh and what's funny for them at that time,
right.
And you know, the different levels of humor from.
Yeah, I remember coming home one day and I had been playing with it was in after school care, and so you know, when you were in after school care, it's like, you know, the 10 little Indians, all your, you know, your friends go home slowly, and if you're like the last person there, you end up playing with just whoever, you know, whatever kid is left.
By the way, that's the first time I heard of that before. 10 Little Indians.
Oh, you know, 1 little 2. Wait.
Yeah.
How does it go? No, it's the one where they keep falling out of the boat. You know, like.
Oh, okay. Oh no,
like
I miss.
And then there were none.
That.
Like
okay.
Agatha Christie. You know, like everybody keeps dying slowly. Everybody gets killed off slowly. Like maybe I should say it's like an Agatha Christie novel, except instead of all the children being murdered one by one, they're being, you know, taken home by their parents. And so, like, you might be playing with, you know, your best friend like until 5 o'clock, or you might be playing with some girl until 5 o'clock, or you might be playing with, you know, the weird kid in class who, you know, crushes up, you know, bugs in a sliver of wood. What's that?
Ritalin.
Okay. Well, I was the Ritalin kid, you know.
Were you?
I think there was a bunch of others, yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. So my mom takes me home at 5 o'clock, which is like the cutoff. You know, you have to have gone home by then. And she was like, you know, what's wrong, baby? And I was like, well, I had to hang out with this kid I don't really like, Alexander, and she's like, what's wrong with Alexander? And I was like, well, he's so immature. Like, he always talks about like poop jokes. He always tells poop jokes. And she's like, you don't like poop jokes anymore? And I was like, no, those are for babies. She's like, what do you like, puke and vomit jokes now? And I was like, yeah, those are funny. You know. Sure, there's a hierarchy of what you like.
That's hilarious.
Of course, I was wrong. Poop jokes are totally funnier than like than vomit jokes.
No, unless your mom was like, "Well, I got a good one for you right now." So
oh, she would too.
When I had you.
I remember when I was like 11 or 12, she decided that I was old enough to hear her dirty jokes, the ones that she knew. You know, they were always like, guy walks into a bar, orders what does he order? He orders a beer and a shot of tequila. Drinks the beer, splashes the tequila on his hand, orders another round, drinks the beer, splashes the tequila on his hand. The bartender says, you know, I don't mean to ask you, like, I don't mean to tell you, man, how to drink, but why are you wasting all that good tequila? And he's like, I'm not wasting it. I'm getting my date drunk.
Oh yeah.
Because his date is his hand.
That's
basically.
amazing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's funny where all these bar jokes. What if this was at one bar and these are all the most fucked up things that ever happened?
There's a tiny what is it, a 12-inch pianist like playing a tiny piano.
Did you hear the one about there was a horse in the back of the bar,
and the guy says, "Why the long face?"
Not even that. Well, there was a reason why there was a long face.
Okay.
But the guy had no money to buy a drink, so he betted the bartender. He's like, "I bet you $500 that I can make your horse laugh and cry.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make him laugh first, and then he'll cry." He goes, "Son, you got a bet going on." So, right then and there, they shook on it. He went back.
Mm-hmm.
He saw the horse, and immediately you can hear the horse laughing, and then right after that, immediately the horse started crying. And the guy comes back, "I'd like to have my $500, please," and takes there, buys a drink. Goes, "What exactly did you do to that horse?" "Well, first I showed him my dick, and he actually laughed.
Mm-hmm.
I told him my dick was bigger than yours, and then he laughed. And then I showed it, and he started to cry."
All right, fair enough.
Yeah,
so you guys got a really big dick.
Yeah.
I always wonder who.
Let's just say all of these things happen at Tony's bar.
Okay, yeah. That's
there was a horse in the back.
There's rabbis everywhere.
Rabbis.
Yeah, priests
And a rabbi.
Boys, yeah, millions of ducks, all that stuff.
Dead bodies. A lot of dead bodies in there.
Right. I remember in when I was in Boy Scouts, the jokes we went through a phase where we all told like whorehouse jokes. And they were like,
oh, that's good.
They were like really, but if you listen to them, they were really disturbing in a lot of ways because of just the stuff that would happen at this just horrifying whorehouse. It was I don't know, just like, there would be dead hookers and things would happen to them and like other disgusting. People would end up having sex with all kinds of just terrible things. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and boy, as a 10 or 11 or 12-year-old boy, he's like, okay, whatever, talking about sex is enough. But then like the mentality of the person that comes up with these jokes is like really weird, like
because they're just like improvising, winging it at that time. They're just waiting, they're looking at your face, and then what happened? Then she pooed on her face.
Right. Okay.
What? Yeah, and then they pooped in together like that.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. Actually, I used to live in Toronto, which is like this big town city in Ontario.
Sure, I know. I'm familiar with the town.
Yeah.
I don't know where Ontario is, but
it's in Canada.
I know that.
And then
I just don't.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
And
beavers, guys in plaid shirts.
Yeah, like there's beavers there, but an hour north there's a lot of polar bears, and I had a fight with a friend because their igloo was bigger than mine. And
wow.
Anyways, another story. I moved away up to another city up an hour north. Significantly lower population, like 30,000 people. Mm-hmm. And when I went back to Toronto and I met all my friends, a lot of things changed in Toronto, in my neighborhood. You know, some new places opened, some places were abandoned, something like that. And there was one strip mall. Mm-hmm. Right, it was at the Jane Strip Mall, and it was like a lot of like ghetto people, just like there's a lot of homeless people come in and out and stuff like that.
I think I know what you might be dancing around here.
And no, and then afterwards, you have no idea, my friend.
Okay,
but you probably do.
Okay.
I remember they told me this story about how they went to the whorehouse there. They're like, "Do you know they have a whorehouse in there?" And I'm like, "Really?" And then I believed them, right? Mm-hmm. Because they came up with like just the weirdest types of details. Mm-hmm. Like, really, man, when I went inside there, like, you can see the soot coming off from the ceiling because of, like, the people having sex on the table.
Okay.
And you can just see the things coming off and on. And there would be this lady with one cigarette, old man ham, and she'd kind of look at us, and then she'd be like, "How much is it for a blowjob?" She'd be like, "That'd be $5." And, like, they just totally got these characters, and they talked about the description of the place, like, all the Asian people giving handjobs and stuff. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, so you want to go?
Yikes.
That's random.
What's going on over here?
Oh, Google Hangout.
No one knows what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so the descriptions of this.
Yeah, and then it wasn't until they told me, "Haha, we got you," and I'm like, "Fuck, you got me. You got me pretty good."
this elaborate fantasy whorehouse you've created.
And that's how I learned the concept of trolling from my friends.
Yeah, that was a really... I remember when I was in high school, that was a really...
We were trolling thing. Before we even realized what trolling was. Right?
Like people lose... Like that's one of the kinds of humors that I never really got. Like where you're just going to... It's like you're going to tell me a lie that sounds completely plausible. Like oh, I passed by your house the other day. Like I saw you outside the window, and I was like, oh really? And they're like, no. And it's like,
and they
got
ran
you,
away.
and then thought that was really funny. Like that was, and that's just a very strange thing to just getting me to believe a very plausible and mundane lie is just hilarious.
Yeah, I remember we had one friend who was he convinced another guy about something that happened because he'd always you'd say like, hey, remember when this, and he'd be like, yeah. It's like, remember that time when we were playing kickball and you kicked that red ball and it went so high, it went over the house? He was like, yeah. Like, you did that, remember? He's like, yeah. Just like, that's how you plant memories in kids. And then, the things that we don't remember as memories anymore, it just becomes something else entirely.
Right. My girlfriend says her grandmother used to swear up and down that she had this memory of like swinging on a swing and then going all the way around and like looping over the swing, which I think on Mythbusters they pretty much proved it was impossible unless you had rockets involved. Like actually swinging up and doing a loop in a swing set. But she said her grandmother had all these memories of doing that when she was a kid.
Her grandmother had...
Yeah, her grandmother used to talk about like, oh, when I was swing, I used to go all the way around.
Well, that's possible because back in the day, people used to do crazy stuff because there was no TV, there was no internet.
Right.
It's like, you went over one revolution, I'm going to do 2 revolutions without stopping.
All right.
It's possible.
It kind of defies the laws of physics there, but you get all the way up there and then just fall right back down.
It's just enough people to do it.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. But that was like, it's like, this is a clearly impossible thing that you say you've done.
I guess once you hit the 12 o'clock mark, right? You just go straight down on the bar.
Pretty sure, yeah, pretty sure it's just, well, I mean,
you just did karate with your body.
Yeah, it's pretty impossible. Like once you get, I think you can do it. I don't know. It's not important. It's something that you cannot do. It's something that you cannot do. It cannot be done.
Yeah.
But grandmother
thinks it
can be done.
So basically the thing we learned, don't believe in your dreams or don't believe in your grandparents.
Don't believe in anything your grandparents say.
If there's no pictures, it didn't happen.
They have all of these memories that are not true. Like your grandfather may not have actually been in the war or anything like that.
Yeah, the Holocaust may not have been real.
That's right. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm driving at. Come on.
Hitler was an okay guy. He did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my... If there is any takeaway message here, it is that Hitler was a good guy and that the Holocaust didn't happen. Totally.
Yes. And if he ever made out with the Worf from Star Trek, their mustaches would never meet.
Oh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know there was this online contest for Mountain Dew? Mm-hmm. And then they came up with a new drink. And they told the internets, like, we want you guys to vote for the next new title for, like, our new drink. And the number one vote was Hitler did nothing wrong. It was, like, over 50,000 votes. And there was nothing they could do about it because 4chan was like, we got to get this guy number one. Hitler did nothing wrong.
Yeah, I like the idea of...
but they canceled that out.
Yeah, really?
And then they boycotted another one where... there was a contest for Taylor Swift to vote to going to any type of high school that was most voted.
Oh, yeah.
So she can do a free performance there. And the number one performance, place to do performance was at St. Augustine's School for the Deaf.
Okay.
They actually got the most votes.
That's pretty good.
But they boycotted it, and the company just chose another school from California instead.
Sure.
It's crazy. That's what happens when you give too much.
That's why, don't vote. Don't vote for things on the internet.
But when something's so funny like that, you should do it. It would be great.
Yeah. I don't know.
Funny.
Here comes our awkward silence.
Okay, so at this moment, how about we just play a quick game?
Okay. Oh, I didn't know there were games.
Yeah, I used to do this game like would you rather?
Okay.
Would you rather do this or would you rather do that?
Okay.
But I'd like to try something different this time.
All right.
We can play a game called Talk Yourself Out of It.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a scenario.
All right.
And you got to talk yourself out of it.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I think so.
Okay. You're at home, your girlfriend's out, and finally got the place to yourself. You somehow got really drunk on rum and coke. And you started having sex with a penguin. Didn't know what happened.
All right.
Your girlfriend comes in. She sees you in mid-thrust of having a penguin.
Having sex with the penguin?
Talk yourself out of it. Go.
Oh, hey, honey. It's really good to see you. I have a surprise for you. I got you a penguin. Okay. So here is your penguin. And are you gonna be the girlfriend here?
No, I just want to see you talk yourself out of this.
Oh, okay. All right. I feel like she would say something at this point, like maybe, "Why are you fucking a penguin?" or something like that. But I'm gonna pretend she said that. She said, "Why are you having sex with my penguin friend?" Or the penguin.
So it's her penguin friend.
Or no, it's
so you just cheated on her with her best friend, and you try to fix that by saying, "Hey, I got you a present." She's like, "No way! You just cheated with my best friend penguin. How dare you, Sean?" Talk yourself out of that.
I think at this point, what we should all do is sit down. Let's have a nice cup of coffee. Let's talk about what has happened here.
When are you going to take that penguin out of your penis? You're still talking to me with two hands like this and a penguin on your penis.
Okay, I will remove my. I don't.
But the doctor's closed today, Sean. Think about it. It's Saturday. Okay, it's Chuseok weekend. All the doctors are closed. All the yakuks are closed. What are you doing, Sean?
I'm not having sex with this penguin. This is not what it looks like.
Kind of looks like it to me.
I was merely examining this penguin for I thought perhaps it had some sort of problem with its urinary tract, and I wanted to examine it more closely. So that's what's happening here.
So you're saying you got a magnifying glass on your penis? Is that what you're saying?
I was hoping that you would not bring that up. I feel like that's a rude thing for you to say to me, that I have a magnifying glass on my penis. I'm sensitive about this whole area, that I have some certain deformities here, and you should not bring that up. Okay, so I think my question for you now is how could you be so rude, and how are you going to make this up to me?
Congratulations, Sean. You talked yourself out of having sex with the penguin.
Okay.
Good job. 1 point. I got a message here.
Oh.
Talk about science, like the riverbeds on Mars.
Oh, the riverbeds on Mars. That is one of the things that I am very interested in.
Not even
what's that?
Talking yourself out of penguins?
I think if the situation ever arose, I would certainly be interested in that in the moment.
But let's talk about riverbeds.
I am kind of a Mars aficionado. Every time that a new, I don't really watch sports or anything, but whenever there's a new land or a new probe or something like that, that's one of my favorite things to do, is watch that live on the internet. I get so excited when the lander's coming down, because it's 50% chance that it's probably not going to work. Of all the missions they've sent to Mars, half of them have just disappeared. They've exploded or crashed or whatever, so whenever you're watching, that's a really intense thing to watch a Mars probe land, because there's billions of dollars on the line. It all comes down to 30 seconds, and you watch it happen, and then the mission control goes crazy, and they're like, or sometimes it just blows up and you don't see anything, or you do see it, but everybody's just all disappointed.
They just lost $1 billion.
Yeah, lost about $50 million, $70 million.
Yeah, it's like working on a really important project, and finally it just literally blows up in front of you.
It does. It's exactly what
happened.
It's
a huge letdown.
Yeah, I mean, it's much more. It's to me, that's more exciting and more interesting than a lot of different than watching.
So when it finally Curiosity finally landed, it was a huge
oh yeah, I mean, I was in my classes, and I just stopped teaching. I have a very structured system I'm supposed to teach, and I just stopped teaching it and turned on projector so that the kids could watch, and I was like, "Did you see what happened? The rover landed. There's a new giant robot on Mars, guys." And they were like, "Teacher, I don't know. There's just white people on the screen yelling." Like they thought yelling and hugging was funny, but they didn't understand it all.
So they're all in Mars?
Yeah,
just like
all these. Yeah, exactly.
they were in that machine.
They're like, "Teacher, these people are in spaceship. You know what's happening here?" I'm like, no, they're in Houston. It's like, but there's a robot, guys, a nuclear powered robot, and it's like, what's nuclear, teacher? And gets very confusing for them. But that is interesting to me. But I feel like as far as the riverbeds, that's kind of confirming. It's kind of confirming stuff that we've known all along. We've known for a long time that there was water on the surface of Mars, and so now like just more confirmation. It's very interesting. I'm very interested right now. There's like these black spider marks. Yeah. And I think maybe these are like plumes or geysers. That's pretty cool. Interested in that stuff. I don't know. You know, when I went to school, the first go around in college, I really wanted to be like mechanical engineer, you know, or a robot. I really wanted to build robots.
You wanted to be a robot.
I wanted to be a robot designer. I wanted to work for NASA. I wanted to do all that stuff. And then I found out that my ADD was a little bit too severe to really stick to an engineering program. Yeah. It's like I'm not great at math, at crunching numbers. I never quite learned my times tables and shit like that, and that's just tough. And so like I eventually stalled out of that program, went and got a job for a year, came back and did something else, and then came to Korea immediately. So that's why I say I have like kind of a technical degree. It's like interdisciplinary, but everybody who asks me about it, it's like, what is that for? What are you using it for? And I was like, this part was what I wanted to do, and this little bit here at the end was what I could do in a year, and that's why this degree is what it is.
So let's just say that you actually knew everything, that you had all the prerequisites, and you were mechanical engineer, designer. What specifically would you want to make?
Oh, I would love to design some. I'd be doing robotics probes and stuff like that for. That would either that, or I would be doing artificial intelligence stuff. I think that was very interesting too.
Who do you think the direction of AI is going these days?
I don't know, man. It's it just seems like it's getting more and more computing power. It's like just building bigger and better computers. I actually discovered today that I think I really hate computers.
Why?
I just don't like using them. I don't like using a computer. Like I use a iPod. That's nice. That's like okay, but computers, don't like them. I don't know. It's like I like the internet sometimes.
You hear that? Sean does not like you.
They don't like
Good night, everyone.
Because they're expensive and they break, and then you have to fix them, and that's the most infuriating thing. And like the more you know about computers, the more you have to fix it. The more you have to fix them for other people.
Well, yeah, they are meant for like a temporary cost. Like they're not meant to last forever. And as soon as you buy, we already know that. That's like the standardized station of everything. It's like it's all basically the building of resources until it's completely pulled out. Then we can actually work on something that's viable and lasts longing.
Right. But like especially laptops, they just die on you. I had my laptop die on me, and that's the most infuriating thing in the world.
Yeah, all that porno.
Because I know.
That penguin porno.
But you can't. I don't know. I look at these things like I don't enjoy using them anymore. Like I used to play computer games and stuff like that, and I liked that. But then I hated when they would not work. It's like I know how to fix them, but that is the most. Like I think there are people out there that actually like fixing computers. And that's just the worst. It's the worst. It's the worst, most boring, most tedious thing that you can do is to fix a computer. I take no joy in it at all. And that's why those things, like, I don't know.
But if you were to do, like, build robots.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that basically be somewhat related? If it was broken, you would have to fix it, and like a robot is essentially like a very smart computer.
Yeah, but that's like a creative thing. I like doing creative stuff. I don't like.
Well, how would that be? How would that be different from?
Okay, well, like, okay, so that, I mean, a computer is just a computer is something that's already been made. It's like a car, like fixing a car, or it's like how to fix a car, but you're not building a new car. So you're just maintaining something.
Okay.
Robots, which I have built some robots in my time, and they've been pretty good. And I mean, very simple things, but that's like a creative process that you're like, you're using your hands, and yeah, you have to use computers sometimes, but ugh, I don't know.
But you're making something more original than just
you're making
basically the maintenance of something that's already been created before. That I recently had a conversation with a friend of mine the other night, and my friend was explaining how she feels that we've become actually dumber as people because we rely so much on technology and computers and stuff, which is kind of true because of all that that ridiculous amount of information that constantly floating everywhere, that we cannot contain it, that we actually have a mental hard drive that we encase into the internet and stuff.
I think our memories are getting poorer because of computers. Like, I mean, think about before you had a cell. I used to know so many phone numbers, just lists of numbers in my head, just knew them by heart, right? And now how many phone numbers do I know? The only phone numbers I know are the phone numbers I remember from before. Yeah.
But the thing is, I was thinking about that too, but I'm thinking now, is it really that important? I mean, if I don't remember these new phone numbers now, like what in exchange for that, what type of valuable information did I learn from that?
Maybe I can turn that phone number part of my brain into
something else completely different, right?
Yeah, sure.
So it's like it could be much more completely different, and the thing is like I think now with technology, I think it's obviously constantly evolving now, but the most progress that's being promoted through mainstream is actually through video games, because now the video game industry is making much more than the movie industry,
right?
And they're actually actually kind of evolving and improving the state of technology in terms of reality interaction, and that actually helps improve the status of phones and stuff, because they try to get the best type of processing and and chips and everything that's going on there. And then you have something like this thing. If you went to 1950s or even 1969 and you saw a billionaire, and he gave you all the money that he had, he would still not be able to make something like this during that time.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, how crazy is that? Like, this is maybe at the first. Is it possible to have the first rocket to go into space? Would this probably have more technology on it?
No, they say that the fall missions had onboard computers that were not about as powerful as a.
They were like Internet Explorer. They
were less powerful than a pocket calculator. Like that's
how crazy is that? Yeah. It's so ridiculous.
Well, that's the thing. That's like a testament to how good those how much those guys could do with their own heads. Like, there's no way to the paths through space that all of those missions were making are what we call they're not solvable. You can't they're not algebraically solvable. You can't solve the equation like A plus B equals C.
So it's like just based on chance?
No, you have to do what they call a numerical. They have to do a numerical equation, which means you have to plug the equation you're using into. You have to put some numbers in, and then you have to do like an approximation of where that thing's going to be. Then you have to do it again. Then you have to do it again. Then you have to do it again.
Oh, so you can kind of refine the.
Yeah, which is the main thing we use computers to do. Like that was the first like Charles Babbage computers. Those were used to solve these kinds of differential equations, like these numerical equations that you can't solve it's just you have to do it over again and over and over and over and over and over and over again, just the same equation over and over and over again. And the more you do it, the more accurate it gets. And
So you're always getting different answers, basically. But it's actually getting closer to one specific answer.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's like okay, so you've got a rocket. The classic thing is they say is these where something is going, and it's called a three-body problem. It's like the classic algebraically solvable equation. That means like you've got this planet and its moon and a rocket ship. So three bodies: planet, moon, rocket ship, which is like going to the moon. You have to solve this equation, but it's not solvable without without doing this one equation over and over and over and over again. So it's like if the moon's here, Earth's here, and the rocket's here, the planet, like, we know the moon is going to move to here in like 2 seconds. And so where's the rocket's going to be in the same 2 seconds? And then we know the moon's going to move here. Where's the rocket going to be? It's going to be here.
It's like Battleship.
Yeah, but it's like it keeps moving. Well, yeah, but it is a little bit random, so it's like once you solve it for here, then you have to solve it again, then you have to solve it again and again and again and again.
Right.
Whereas like if there were only two bodies, you could like trace a curve and know exactly where it's going to be.
It's like a really, really sophisticated form of like Marco Polo in a way.
Yeah, maybe. Marco. Yeah, exactly. It's like, Marco, where is it? It's over here.
And then
Polo.
find the
It's like it's like you have to call out Marco Polo like constantly and just like keep following that system and keep following that question.
How crazy is that now we've come to that point in the beginning where people wanted to start shooting shit into the space to reach to the moon?
I love it. I really get off on that stuff. Like that's what I wanted to do. But
people like are really interested about like all the HD, footage and photos of things in Mars, but like have people even checked out like a lot of the past, pictures of Venus or Jupiter? Like
those Voyager missions are amazing.
Those are ridiculous too.
Well, those
are even further away.
A lot of those pictures were taken with television cameras. Actually, that was the easiest way to get a color picture, or to get a picture from back then. Was all the two Voyager missions is where we get all those pictures, and they weren't even using like digital cameras. Yeah. They were using television cameras. They're just sending the television signal back to Earth, because that's like how you could beam messages. This is all hilarious, I'm sure.
Because now we have Honey Boo Boo on TV.
Oh no, I was just thinking like this is all hilarious. Like we were supposed to be talking about comedy.
No, we can just talk about.
All right, yeah. I mean that's like where that's what the kind of stuff I was interested in, or I'm still interested in it.
So what do you think is? Do you think what are your thoughts or ideas about Mars and like its past or its possible?
Oh, I think that I think that the main thing, like for me, I always like when I was in engineering school, like as a freshman in engineering, I thought like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to like help colonize Mars. Like in 30 years, maybe we can like put people on Mars. Like that's the most interesting thing for me, is like put people on Mars. Mm-hmm. As far as there being life there, I don't know, probably not.
But as long as it's like hospitable for or inhabitable for humans, that's a higher likely chance than to find life on Mars.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's. I mean, maybe there is, but I kind of doubt that there's life on Mars. I think there's a lot more places that there could be life in the solar system, like the moon, like several of the moons of Jupiter, or a couple, like one of the moons of Saturn is one or two of the moons of Saturn is very like. Seems to be a much more likely place for life to be. Mm-hmm.
What kind of freaks me out too is like sometimes just the idea of time travel, for example, where we are constantly experiencing all forms of time travel, but the ones we're always kind of fascinated about is like the huge extended form of going back 50 years ago or something. And if you wake up and you look at the clock, like, fuck, I'm late, I gotta run. Usually you wake up at 8:30, you woke up at 8:40, so you're gonna be like 10 minutes late. So when you're running, you're actually slightly slowing time to get there, which is a really easy example. But then later on, if you think about all the astronomers like looking through telescopes, they're like literally looking back into the past, right? Into as far as they can, so they can witness like the beginning of the Big Bang.
Yeah, that's cool, and it is cool.
Like that is time travel itself right there.
Like,
just by looking at shit, you're looking into the
Mhm.
past, and you're essentially doing time travel.
Yeah, I know. That's that's a cool idea. That the further out you look, the further away you look, and that's true for
Isn't that weird? The further
away you look, the older things are. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true for everybody. It's like just looking at you. You are like several
baby.
hundreds, thousands, milliseconds. Like, just looking at anything is looking into the past, like you say.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is like, and how much we evolve over the years itself. Like you always hear that thing, like when you rub your arm and stuff, and there's all these dead skin cells. You look at an old house, it's like 70% dust is all human skin.
Yeah.
And then what you were before was not even who you were now, and all that stuff. And we always think of ourselves as just one big eye, but really we're not one big fucking eye. We're just this little ball, and there's a lot of little mini eyes and stuff like that. And we're just constantly changing and stuff.
Some heavy stuff, man.
My art teacher, one of the most amazing things he said to me, he says, basically all we are is melting light, which is light that's melting very slowly. And when you look at because when you're drawing something, you're basically not. I'm not drawing a chair. I'm not drawing a person. I'm actually drawing the light.
Yeah, right.
And when you're doing that, that's light is what gives surface, texture, life to everything. So when you're doing that, everything that we are is just basically all being manifested from the growth of life.
Yeah, that was the tricky thing. I remember when I was taking art classes, and I finally realized that.
Then I was like, we should smoke weed together.
Oh, yeah, sure, that's right.
But we didn't. But I felt like I did.
I like the finding that things aren't made out of like black lines.
Line is not a concept. Yeah, line is just a concept.
Right, and it's just but like you put a line on a piece of paper, and it's like it's much better to put a shape on the paper because there's lines or you look at something and it's not. There's not like the computer and the wall. There's not a line between them. There's just the computer and then the wall. And so like, how do you capture that in an image? Like if you're drawing or whatever. Yeah,
that was like it's one of those things when you're doing drawing and you're understanding art and stuff. It's basically the art of perception. That's all it is. Because you don't really need a lot of materials to learn to draw.
Right.
Like if you see an amazing artist, you don't need to give him like something like this, right?
Just a piece of
paper.
Charcoal.
Like if you just gave him shit and that's all he had to do, and you had like one piece of paper, he could draw something amazing.
That's the thing how
crazy is that? Like someone is so good they can just take a piece of dog poo and they can use that as a fill tip marker and then draw the Mona Lisa on it, and it actually looks pretty good, but it's made out of shit.
Like this.
That's how you test your skills.
Somebody said that. I read that. Or somebody told me once that like towards the end of his life, Picasso like he never paid for anything. He just like he would write a check and nobody would cash it because
that's the same thing what happened with Picasso at that time, because he was like a raging alcoholic,
right? And so he was pretty broke anyway.
So he would just like have a bike. He had no car.
Yeah.
And then he'd just take one of his paintings and he'd go to the local like general shop,
right?
And it's like in the middle of nowhere, and he'd like get this huge piece with like cost millions, and he'd just take like 3 cases of like beer, and he's trying to like ride back and just drop it all. It's like fuck. Go back and get more.
That was one of the things I came home the other night, and I was like, I said to my girlfriend, I was like, you know what I really like about comedy is that I sat there yesterday and I wrote shit in a notebook, and then I went over to a place and I said it to some people, just like what the thoughts that I had written down, I just said them, and then like they laughed and I came home. This is my girlfriend wanting to shit. Hey, I think we're almost done.
Right
Sorry,
now.
Phone break. I think we're almost done. That's all right. I think you're on the internet right now. I said, I think you're on the internet. You're on camera right now. And everybody can see my phone. Or my pink phone. All right, I'll talk to you later. Talk to you in a minute.
I'm just going to let the awkwardness flow in right now.
Definitely.
Yes.
That's the first joke. That's the first joke I told in Korea was about this damn phone. And how awful it is to have a pink phone.
Can you show your phone?
Oh, yeah, sorry. It's a pink phone. It's very sparkly. I got it because
It was cheaper.
the lady on the thing. I was doing I was getting a phone over the phone, talking to. At that time, as far as I knew, there was only one way to get a phone in Korea, and it was like through calling the Seoul Global Center or whatever and getting a contract. I had no idea. And she was like, "Okay, special today is, we can give you," and she was like, "for your girlfriend, it is $0 for the phone, but for you it is 30,000 won." And I was like, "Wait a minute, why is it 30,000 won for me?" She was like, "Oh, special today, only pink phones are free." And I was like, "2 pink phones, please. I don't, I'll draw skull and crossbones on it or something."
So you're like, so it looks like you just stole from like an emo.
Yeah,
from an emo chick. 'Cause
something.
that's skull and crossbones.
Oh yeah, over a pink phone.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, I'll just pink phone. I'll save $30.
Yeah.
But I've had the same phone for 2 years.
Better
now.
than a pink polo shirt with the color pops.
Sure.
It's
Right.
basically the same thing.
You know what? When I was just recently in Japan, and the funny thing was, I could instantly tell who was a Korean and who wasn't a Korean because they just that.
Welcome to the
Korean,
club.
That Korean swagger and attitude that they brought to Japan was like just set them apart. And plus, when they get out of their car, as soon as they get out of their car and see me, they're like, "Oh, wait, we can blah 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 blah."
But you can actually tell by their face, though, right?
I don't know. I can't.
That's so funny because when you told me that, I thought, oh, you can finally differentiate like.
No,
like
I could tell because the guy was wearing big sunglasses and his collar was popped and he was
but if he had like no glasses, he just dressed like just jeans and t-shirt. If I put like a Japanese person, a Chinese person, and a Korean person, could you tell the difference?
I could probably tell a Chinese person. But between Korean and Japanese, that might be a little
that's
tough.
where you disillusion yourself because it'd be harder to find out who's Chinese.
Oh yeah, I want
because.
Well, Chinese is there's like all different kinds of people.
Yeah, so it's like a huge variety,
Korean
right?
is only
so
one
they
kind.
Can look any type of Asian ethnicity.
I don't know, maybe that's right.
I'm gonna find this test for you, and it's,
oh god, there's an Asian test.
Yeah, there is an Asian test. Oh, I can't do it here. That's ridiculous. But there is an Asian test where you can, it's like know you're Asian. Mm-hmm. And it gives you a test about how well can you.
All right, let's see. I think I can tag a. I think I can tag a. I can definitely tag a Filipino. I can tag a Vietnamese person, but between Korean and Japanese, that might be tough.
Okay, this might.
All right, let's do it.
No, this is like a blog, and it shows 2 mooncakes.
I think I can tell the difference.
No, this is someone's blog.
All
You fooled me. Know your Asians test.
But this is the funny thing. The thing about thinking you gotta know the difference between each Asian is like, do you know the difference between how a German person looks and like an Italian person? Like, oh, okay, maybe that's a bad example, but like white people, I think you can't tell the difference between different kinds of white people either.
I could tell totally.
You can tell the difference.
I grew up with white people.
You can tell the difference between like a Polish person and an English person.
Yeah, I can tell the difference between a Polish person and a Russian person.
Oh well, okay, that's a little.
Oh, okay, this can work.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So I just found a site. I basically what I wrote in Google was test to see difference in Asians.
I can tell the difference between those Asians.
The first one that came up was alllookssame.com.
Yeah, okay.
But I went to the one below it and it says, "Okay, Cupid, can you tell the difference between Asians test?" So
All right.
Sean is going to take this test and we're going to see how well he can differentiate. So the introduction shows 4 pictures as if they're part of the Partridge family, but they're not. But just because they all look the same.
Right.
One guy is actually Indian.
Yes, that's right.
He looks very Indian. Okay, ready?
Okay. Oh wait, I didn't see. Okay, Asian A.
Asian A.
Okay, Asian.
Chinese, Japanese, or Vietnamese?
I'd say she's probably Japanese.
Japanese. Okay, I have my own idea.
All right.
But Asian B.
Asian B. Is he Chinese, Japanese, or Vietnamese? I'm gonna say he's the Chinese guy.
He's
Although I think C is could be the Chinese guy too.
and
then C is the Vietnamese guy.
You know, they can all be Chinese.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Vietnamese, you said, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, go.
Oh, they're not. It's like not one of the three.
You're done.
All right, that's easy. Well, I wonder what I got.
Let's see. There was only one page. What? I have to sign up and get my results.
Yeah, you gotta sign up to OkCupid.
Oh, that's stupid. That's so depressing. Oh, we almost signed up. Oh, well.
I know a couple people who got married from OkCupid.
Oh, no, it is here. It is that one. Can you tell Asians apart?
All right, let's see.
I'm really want you to
Are you said that you were Asian the other night. Are you Asian? Are you half Asian?
Oh my god. He can't even tell if I'm Asian or not.
I mean, you look a little bit Asian, but you could be like sometimes I know some South American guys that look a little Asian.
Oh my god, Sean.
All right, so what kind of Asian are you?
I'm half Korean, half Spanish.
Oh, okay. Spanish, like from Spain? Spanish?
No, Latino.
Oh, okay. See, Latinos can look Asian sometimes.
Yes, so. Oh, you have to log in?
God dang.
Okay, I'm gonna make an account for you.
Alright,
I really
alright.
want you to take this test. I really
Okay.
want to see how well.
Alright.
Your username is, Sean White.
All right, Sean White.
Just we need an alter ego.
Sean White, like the.
No, like you're white.
Like
and
the
your name is
snowboarder?
Sean. Your password is I am white.
Okay.
Country, let's say Korea for now.
Okay.
Okay, you're in Korea.
Mm-hmm.
State, there's no state in Korea. Only the communist state. Age.
I don't
doesn't
think you have
matter.
to have it. Do you have to have all of those?
Male.
Male.
Let's just
Okay.
register.
Let's do it.
Oh, come on. Age group?
Age group.
Okay. How old are you, Sean?
I'm 28.
21 between 30. Good
Alright.
enough with me.
Race.
Oh, your race.
I think it's clear that I'm white.
I like how it says Asian, Black, Hispanic, White, all
All
other.
other. All right, here we go. Oh no. Larger than 4 and less than 20 and must be alphanumeric. Username. All right, so take out the space.
Just push Sean.
Sean White.
Okay, Sean White.
There you go.
Sean White, I am white. That's your password.
Boom.
Okay, perfect.
All right, let's
Okay.
see.
So
Chinese,
if you
Japanese.
go to this site, it's called alllooksame.com, and
Uh-huh.
once you go here, on the top left,
Mm-hmm.
there's a picture like a Nintendo Wii kind of character, and then what you do there is it says take the exam. You just register and you can
Alright.
take the test. Okay,
So this guy.
test 1. Okay, is this guy Chinese, Japanese, or Korean?
Okay, well let's talk it out. So he's making a funny face. Now, the thing
That's so rude.
the thing to me that is
So
the thing to me that is a big difference between a between a Japanese person and a Korean person is that I'm sorry, a Japanese person. The options are Chinese, Japanese, or Korean. So the big difference between Koreans and Japanese, I think, is in the nose. And I'm going to say this person has a more Korean nose, and he's got that lantern jaw that you see
Okay,
on so
so
many Koreans.
he's Korean.
I think he's Korean.
Okay, Korean. Next one.
Okay. This one's a tough one. I think that she could be. See her. I think her. Once again, it's all in the nose. She doesn't have the button nose, so I'm gonna say maybe. I feel like I'm being really racist right now. It's
too late. You're already racist.
You are assuring me that you
I know
you
who- I
yourself
know what
are
she
half
is.
Korean, right?
Yes.
I might be through by association. This might just be okay enough. All right. You know what she is?
I know what she is.
All right. I'm gonna say.
It's either Chinese, Japanese, or Korean.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. I want to say Korean almost, but then I think I'm gonna say. I think I'm gonna say Japanese for her.
Japanese. Interesting choice. Okay, this guy.
I think he might be Chinese. He's got goofy. This guy has goofy blonde hair and his.
Because he looks goofy, you always assume it's the Chinese.
No, I don't think. I don't
okay,
assume that.
this guy here.
Now here you get something. You get he's got a wispy little beard, which I think is very helpful.
He's got a Fu Manchu. That's gonna confuse you.
Yeah. Well, Fu Manchu is technically a big long thing here. Okay, I'm gonna say this guy is Korean. I think he's got the Korean nose.
He's got the Korean nose.
I know that there's not just one, but Korean.
Korean?
I think he's Korean.
It's a good choice. I would say he is Korean.
That one.
The one I had previously.
That one was easy.
The one I had previously before was like Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese, and Filipino.
Yeah. Oh, Filipino.
It was much more harder.
I mean, that's the test. You just go to Heiwa and take that test. Who's Korean? Who's Filipino?
Now who's racist?
I'll be 100% on that one.
Okay. What about this lady? This
okay.
lady.
Oh boy.
You have about a few faces, so just go with instinct,
now
bro.
I feel like she's Korean too. I feel like they're giving me a bunch of Koreans now. Yeah.
Korean? Okay.
Yeah.
Next one.
Chinese. Oh, she could have been Japanese.
Too late. Just first moment when you see them. This one.
Japanese.
You might be doing okay. Next one.
Ooh, Korean.
Interesting. Her.
Chinese.
This guy. Why do they all have dyed blonde hair? This could be
I don't know. It's
a
weird.
clue.
Yeah. I'm gonna. How many do I have to do? I'm gonna say.
Keep note that he has some chest hair too.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
That's a hint.
Who has chest hair? I feel like I don't see. I've had Korean women tell me that Korean men don't have chest hair, but I haven't seen a lot of chests of Korean men.
Then you haven't lived, my friend.
Japanese.
Okay. This looks like a OK Cupid picture. This is her profile picture.
Okay.
To find a husband.
You want to call these all Korean now? I'm gonna say she's Japanese.
She's Japanese.
Yeah.
I see.
I don't see a lot of Japanese. I don't see a lot of Chinese. He's Korean.
He's Korean?
Yeah. But I see a lot of old Korean men, so.
What about this gentleman?
I don't know what he is, so I'm going to say Chinese.
I don't know what you are, so I'm just going to say all the above, a.k.a. Chinese. What about this gentleman here?
Boy, the hair is really throwing me off here. Because, I mean, one thing, because the mop top look is so prevalent in Korea that it is, if anyone does not have, or...
Sean, just gotta choose.
All right, I'm gonna say he's Chinese.
He's Chinese.
No, Japanese.
No, too late. Chinese for his answer.
Chinese. No, Japanese.
No, Chinese.
Japanese.
You said Chinese.
All right, Chinese. This is so racist.
Next one.
Okay, we got a bald-headed guy. I'm gonna say, ooh boy, I'm gonna say Japanese for him.
Interesting choice. Next one. Korean. Another interesting choice.
Do you really think you have...
Okay, ready?
All right.
Out of 18, you have
6 and the
right.
average is 7.
Your score is very bad. Obviously, you can't tell the difference.
Well,
see, look. First guy, not Chinese.
What did I say?
Oh, he was Chinese. You said he was Korean.
Okay.
This girl was Japanese. That's right.
Okay.
This guy, you said it was Japanese. No. Well, he is Japanese.
Yeah.
You said he was Chinese because of the hair.
Yeah, it's weird hair.
You gotta know, Japanese people kind of go all out in their fashion.
Yeah, so, but all these people could be like, they could be.
Don't say it. Don't finish that because you're gonna be racist.
No, I'm gonna say. But are these like from the country? Or are these all?
No,
like,
you can tell.
Are these all Americans?
They are like official fobs.
What's a fob?
Fresh off the boat.
Okay. I don't believe that. I guess a Japanese guy. Okay. So
you thought she was Korean, but she's Chinese.
Okay.
Okay. This girl, that's right.
Uh-huh.
This guy, I would have said he looked kind of Japanese because of his hairstyle. He looks like he reads a lot of comic books.
Yeah.
Totally Korean.
Yeah, I nailed that one.
That was interesting.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen her before.
She looks a little bit Indonesian, I would say.
Well, okay.
A little bit Indonesian. This girl is Japanese. You picked Chinese. That's an interesting one. I
wanted to say Korean for her.
He's
I said Japanese. I don't know why.
See? Blonde hair again. Japanese.
Yeah, you're right. I wanted to say Korean for her, but I...
No, but she's Japanese.
Yeah. What? No, she's Korean. Isn't
She is Korean, yeah.
I said Japanese,
I
but
see.
I was like, I
Oh,
don't.
he's Korean. He's not Japanese. He's
What?
not Korean.
He's not Korean.
He's Japanese.
Okay.
This man is not Chinese.
Okay.
He's Korean.
I'm gonna say to you at this point, like, why? Like,
This guy's Chinese.
Which
You're
is
right on that.
who is more racist? Who is more racist here, though? Me, who I made I can't. Like, isn't it better to be more race blind? Like,
No, because
like
you don't know
we're
who you're
all
gonna offend if you're race blind. You have to have some type of.
But
you
when
see,
does this
there-
come up? Like,
No, but you
when
need
does an Asian come
you
up
need
and
a
be like,
level of discrimination.
when does an
so you
Asian come
can-
up and be like, hey, I'm you fill in the blank? Like, what? Like,
That's a good one. I'm gonna start doing that on the streets. You got
It's like,
5
hey,
seconds
I'm
to guess who I am.
but nobody'd get it because you got that
No,
Spanish
people
blood in
know.
you.
One guy actually thought I was Middle Eastern,
No,
but I just thought he just wanted a friend.
I don't think.
Hey, brother, you from them?
Like, why are people getting so offended that you can't tell from a like? At what point are people coming up and getting offended that you can't tell from one look like where they're from?
Okay, what surprised me was like when you told the story of you going to Japan, and then you mentioned that when you went there, you could tell people that were Korean and people that were Japanese
By how they were dressed.
By
I
how
could
they
tell the Koreans by how they were dressed.
by how they were dressed
and how they were acting.
but how they were acting and when
Yeah.
they said you were Weigukin. But
when
I
they
thought,
started speaking
by
Korean,
now,
that was easy.
But I thought by now though, but you've been in Korea, you've seen a lot of people now that when you see Japanese people, it's like really obvious.
Oh no! When
this
I see a
person's
Japanese person on the on the subway or something,
Yeah.
number one, everyone else is looking at them, and they don't. And then it's like it's more apparent, because they've got something going on that is not Korean. So yeah, I can tell. Like I can tell whenever there's a non-Korean around. For
like
sure.
like a subway seat.
Well, plus everybody's glaring at them. So
Yeah. Anyways. Well, you know what? Let's end it on that.
All right.
You took the test. It was kind of
I
very
took the
bad.
test and failed.
But on a positive note, you actually talked yourself out of fucking a penguin.
I feel like that situation is
That was pretty good.
That's a tough situation to get out of.
Yeah, but yeah, that was good. That was a good conversation. We talked about many different subjects, from comedy to Mars to discrimination and racism.
Yeah, clearly one of us is racist. I'm not sure who.
Yeah.
Probably me.
Yes. Which he will be performing on Monday.
Oh boy, yeah.
Yeah. So any other shout-outs you want to do before we finish?
Just come out to, if you ever wanted to do comedy in your life, if you decided, if you think that you're funnier than me or Wilfred, you may very well be right. I don't think that come on out and give it a shot.
Yeah, I would definitely. Anyone out there, you think you have something funny to say or something interesting?
In my opinion,
if it's interesting, okay, that's cool. But make sure you think it's kind of funny.
Oh, and I'm gonna say, go to you can, if you really want to come to the open mic. It's gonna happen this Monday.
Monday,
2 days from now.
Whiskey Weasel
in Gangnam. Go to facebook.com/groups/Gangnam Open Mic. Just that simple.
/RIS Gangnam Open Mic.
Gangnam Open Mic.
Yeah.
And people are always asking me if it's if they can do anything, and I say, no. From now on, you cannot do anything. You have to come do something funny.
What do you mean anything?
Well,
like performance?
At first I thought like you can come and play your guitar, but now I think since no one has come and done that, and since I don't really want people to come and do that, it's like if you have a funny song, you can do your funny song at Gangnam Open Mic. But this is a comedy open mic, so it has to be funny. Come do a skit, come do stand up, or something else that is intended to make people laugh. It doesn't have to make people laugh. The intent is the important thing there.
Yeah, the intent is supposed to be humor.
Yes.
So find your inner asshole to find the humor in that, or just it's a great way to meet people.
Yeah.
And to kind of lose friendships.
It's a great way to not go crazy if you come to Korea and find out that you hate what you are going to be doing for the next year and can't stand children. If this is happening to you, come do comedy and don't kill yourself or a child. I think that's the main message there.
Yes.
Have a hobby. Have an outlet.
Yes. The
Why
hobby.
not comedy?
The hobby to kind of refrain you from murder or suicide.
You're a goddamn
Comedy
adult now.
saves lives.
Yeah, you're an adult now. You need a hobby.
You're an adult. Did you hear that?
You need friends. You need a hobby.
You, whoever you are, that person there.
Hey, you kid who just graduated college and has never had a real job and came to Korea instead
Poli-sci
of
first year student.
Yes.
Yeah.
You should do something other than your job for fulfillment.
Yeah. Do something more productive on your free time.
That's what I did. Don't get angry.
Listen, and I know we haven't met you. I don't want to make it feel like we're lecturing you. We just want to help out. You know, this is kind of like an intervention.
Yeah.
But we just want to make sure that you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, you're drinking too much, probably.
You're drinking too much, too.
Yeah.
You're probably drinking too much in Itaewon.
And I'm not saying,
and by yourself, too.
I'm not saying drinking is a bad thing. I'm not saying I don't drink too much. But what I also do productive, I make something, I create something, which is more fulfilling than just partying all the time, I think. But partying all the time.
Do something productive with your drunkenness.
Yes, exactly. Get drunk and then make...
For a reason.
Yeah. Get drunk and then make art. Don't just get drunk.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I like to make my drunkenness as an art.
Yes.
There's an art to getting drunk.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
All
right. So thank you a lot for everyone that's tuning in. Thanks again to Sean. That was a really good conversation. It was really fun.
Yeah.
Come back again next time. Anytime.
Right.
Just whenever you're free. And
Why
not? Do this again. And I think we probably are going to donate about 5,000 won into the swear jar this time.
Yeah.
And everyone out there, just remember that to join our group Artist Journey on Facebook, the page, okay? Just like it, and we're going to get a lot of daily posts on, inspirational links, something funny, something humorous. Share whatever you think is interesting, something about the latest Mars rover news. Tag Sean and me. It'd be really interesting to find out what you think about it. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And that's enough from us.
All right.
And hope you had a good Chuseok. It's Friday. Have a good weekend.
Yeah.
We're going to go out now and...
Dismounts are hard.
Dismounts?
Yeah, that's what we're doing right now. This is the dismount.
Oh, this is the dismount.
Yeah. We've ruined it.
No, wait. Just let the awkwardness slide in.